morning once again, all of you. So yes, as usual, Sunday is going to be tough for most of us. Definitely people who are in college or who are working professional. It's only day that we have got to actually chill out and have something else that we can do. So definitely this next 2 to 2.5 hours is going to be insightful for you, and we'll make sure that you get most value out of it. So we have got 3 different experts today from 3 different domains and their expertise for more than 10, 15 plus years of expertise. So before we jump onto that, I'll just quickly give the glimpse of what we have done so far and who are we and what are we doing. So in a nutshell, we are an NGO based out of Tamil Nadu, nearby Palani, and we do a lot of social activities and awareness. And one of them is on IT skills enablement and creating job opportunities. So that's the wing that we are in, and it's going to help you all up with some of these IT skills enablement and creating job opportunities. So that is where we are. And so we have had, as part of this GenAI enablement session, we had 4 sessions already. It is a 5th session, and it's going to be the wrap up for this series. So it's been happening for the last 4 weeks. And I know most of you might have participated in the past 4 sessions. If not, Yokesh will be sharing the links to all of the recordings which are available on demand so that you can actually go back and watch at your free time. So this is from different experts from various industries, even people from IIT alumni or Samsung or Presidio, various other experts. And as a wrap up, what we wanted to do. So we have learned something on generative AI and what these LLM models are and what this AI technology is taking us to. And now how we can actually take all of this learning and make the best out of it. In the sense, so we have got some knowledge and how we can actually effectively make use of those skills. And if I am a student, how I can actually make these skills to get placed under some company. Or if I learned something, then how I can actually work and collaborate with experts on the same technology and do much more effective so that it increases the job opportunity. And for the professionals, how it can actually take me to the next level and even get better job in the next places, or upskill myself on the current organization and do better with it. So that's going to be the key. So today, for anyone, be open. Definitely, it's going to be eye-opener for all of you on what are the values that we need in the industry to upskill ourselves and even get job opportunities. So our first speaker on today's topic is Selvakumar Armuvam. He's one of my childhood friend, and he worked for various companies, and he was a working for a remote company even before we even thought of having a complete remote opportunity. So for almost 12, 13 plus years of expertise, he has spent mostly remote for working for companies globally. And so that's where he's from. And during college days, we have even built some of the custom Linux distributions. So definitely he will share a lot of those experiences and expertise. And as we go through, we'll see the other expertise, and I'll happy to introduce others as well. So Silva, it's all yours. Thank you so much for joining today and being a great support throughout on our initiatives.
Thank you, Ram. Thank you for initiating this movement, this 5 weekends, and giving connecting between the experts and the needy. So it's a great initiative. Okay. So it's a good number of people here, and I would like to just ensure mostly the students, I hope. If there are working experts, can you just try give thumbs up or react so that we can little bit tune our drive. Okay. Students, maybe you can, whatever you feel comfortable, you can share in the chat or. Okay, sounds like most of us are students, I hope. So we can make it very useful towards that. So let me have my screen so that we can get started. Ram, do I have privilege to share the screen?
Yes, Silva. So please share. I think I can grant you access. Yeah.
Okay, got it. I'm sending the request to share the screen.
Back.
Okay, good. Okay, so just to go intro about myself. So right now I'm working for Deloitte, VP Product Management, and so as Ram mentioned, we have been trying to learn from the college days, still learning. In the open source is the one which showed us a different perspective of the world in the software. That helped in the beginning, helping so far, and it will help for future too. So open source made a huge impact on our lives. So we are just sharing what is the impact open source made to us, and hope you will get benefited. So we are, I would say, a real example of getting benefit from open source. So, and I'm
Silva, can
working.
you go on full screen, Silva? Maybe a slide more.
Yeah, I will go now, but I need to switch the tabs so that by that I will skip get back to that other mode. Sure. So to get started, and also give you a gist of so I mostly work on the jack of all trades kind, like knowing multiple things. So there are two ways you can go. You can go in depth on a specific technology, and the other way you know a lot of things, and the jack of all trades, people will call it. So that way you can grow. But to that, you need to get started, right? So the best way to start is contributing to open source. We can see how we can go about it. So why open source? Hope you guys used Linux. Even if you are less Linux users, VS Code, React, and the most famous softwares like Postgres database or the programming language, it's all open source. So, these all softwares making impact on our lives. So I would say we should thank our open source, because without any benefit, it's simply giving benefits to everyone. So these softwares are, code bases are publicly accessible. So it's not a closed software. You are just not user, you can contribute. So all these codes are publicly available, and it's built by the community for the community. So just like this session, which is running right now, it's by the one of the community people, so it's sharing for the community of the users. So the base things of open source software, you are free to use. Mostly we do that, and you are allowed to modify the code. You can make changes, you can add features. If you're getting some vehicle or anything, like, you can get it and mostly you will be using it. But this one you can modify the software, and we can reshare it. So we will get all the freedom to do that. to contribute to that software. So there is an open source initiative. They define, so what are the open source licenses? Like whenever you use any software, you have, if you're looking at the GitHub, you need to look for what is the license they released. So for example, Windows operating system, it's not open source, it's closed source. You can just use it. Even if you need any features, you are restricted to it. But if it's an open source, you can go to the code base and you can add the feature you want. And there should be permission. The owner of that software the creator should give the permission to use it. So this open source initially, they define the softwares, like for example, Apache license is open source, like it's allowed to use, modify and reshare. It's an open source license. So they define, there are a lot of licenses there. You can read about it, and you can confirm whether it's an open source or closed source. So based on that, you can contribute to the software. And the benefits. So if you are working for a company, you can just mention the software you are working on it and the roles you are playing over there. But if you are contributing to open source, like you can build a strong portfolio where you can say, like there is a difference between you are using React or you are contributing or building React framework or library, right? So if you're contributing to open source, it's not just using, it's a builder of that particular language. So that gives more professionally more growth on that side. And you will be learning real world, like you are not just using the sample code base, it's a real one used by millions of people in the world. So you'll be learning from that and connecting with people. So this meeting, this session is connecting a bunch of people in our community, right? So it's limited. It's since even though it's global, it's limited to some bunch of people, but there is no geographical barrier. You can connect with world developers across the world, and you can learn from them. And also, I feel it's a free internship, because like people look for internship. The college students, they'll ask, is there any way I can get internship in a company? Why are we getting internship? So you get exposure to the company working culture and the coding, how they develop the software. So, but contributing to open source, it's a free internship to the working with world's best minds and the bigger project ever, the Postgres or Linux. Even if you contribute small level, you're interacting with experts and learning the structure of a bigger project. So if you think you wanted to get an internship, contribute to the open source code base. That's the best ever internship, I would say. If you struggle to get in a company, like you can, it's freely available and it's public, open. You can join any of the software you wanted to learn, contribute to that. It's a free internship, I would say. And then it's giving back to the community, like giving to someone which makes us satisfied and happy. So if you're contributing something, then you're giving back to someone. So it's a great feeling. And the types of contributions, it's not just always developing a big feature on a software, even the small bug fix. And if you're good at writing, you can contribute to the documentation. That's most important piece in the software. And if you're good at user interface and UI UX designs, you can contribute to that. And if you're good at testing things, yeah, people develop softwares, but we have to test it thoroughly before deploying. So testing is important. And the community support, like now we got ChatGPT and other things, just you get some answers, but still there is a area where instead of ChatGPT, like you running out of solutions in Google, then you ask in a forum, people who are using the software will be on the forum and they will answer. So that way you can support. And even if today we have this GenAI things, ChatGPT and other things, but still it's not up to date. Still we have to run into Google and find out some GitHub issues to find a specific problem. So the community support, through the community support, you can contribute. And okay, let's check what are the challenges. Like people will feel, okay, if I get into bigger software contribution, if I write something, then people may say like, you're wrong. People will like fear to contribute because someone may question my code in a public way, but you have to come over that. You have to be bold, and if you're wrong, admit it, you are wrong, and try to learn. That way, only that way you can learn. So don't hesitate, try to contribute, and you can learn from that. And some code base will be bigger, so you just start with a small step and learn it. And the time zones and communication. So before my previous company acquired by Deloitte, I was Ram also was there in the company for a while. So we were working with different people from different countries and different time zones, European countries, US countries. So we are all colleagues. So you have to work through the different time zone. That experience you will get through contributing to open source. So you have to manage that and keep asking questions if you are in doubt, and be consistent with that so you can contribute well on that. So to stand out, like always need to be respectful in the comments when you're contributing to open source, and we should do enough research before asking, like looking at the code base. And if you're running out of things after an hour, then ask about it, and keep things very straight. It's called pull request. I think going a little advanced before that. You create an issue and you work on solution, then you submit for pull request. Pull request is nothing but you're submitting your code for someone expert to review, and try to be precise, more specific to one thing. And then once it's matched, we can celebrate. So just I was giving the benefits so far. If anyone have any questions, feel free to post in the chat. Now we can see we can go through the steps. And before going to that, like contributing to open source is best way to get jobs, because you're contributing without any expectation, like you're contributing to the open source. So that will always help an additional boost to land on a job. That's how I benefited, and that's one of the example here I just mentioned. So Ram mentioned about company I worked, like in 2013, from 2013, I'm working in a remote job. So one of the reason I got that remote job is this open source contribution I made on those days. So that was the one which made difference, and that helped me to land on that job. So you may get surprised on looking at this, my first contribution. So you can see the commit I have made here. And if we look at the change which I made, this is the contribution I made. I changed the word volume to Cinder. That's the change. That's my first contribution. So it doesn't need to be a big feature. So that's the first step you can take. Like you can just change one word, it's still a contribution. You develop a big feature, it's still a contribution. So that's the way you started. You don't need to build a feature. You don't need to be an expert on a specific programming language to contribute. You just look for the small ones. People will call it low-hanging fruit. So the easy ones, you start with that, and then you can start with, you can contribute more once you get confident and familiar with the process. So this helps to get familiar with the process. So this contribution, I just wanted to highlight again for the people, the students, to compare, apart from the things which on my resume as a skills. So the open source contribution will get more weightage on landing on a job, because it's not just one thing you add it to the resume to get the job. It's a real definition of you are really worth to land on a good job. So that's a real example of getting benefit of the software. Then we can just go through how you can get started. So far it's just giving you an overall idea what is open source and how we get benefit out of it. We can go through one simple contribution right now, kind of demo. Then you can try to practice on that. Okay, so to get started, so just making sure if you guys have any questions, please post in the chat. So if you want to learn some programming language or anything, try to look for that open source repository of that particular programming language. If it is React, just go to GitHub and search for that repository. If you are trying to contribute, like trying to learn the DevOps, Dockers, Kubernetes kind of frameworks, try to identify that particular GitHub repository and look for small documentation changes or adding minor changes. So people will tag it, like find a beginner friendly projects. So the maintainers of the open source software, they will review the issues submitted for that software, and they will tag it with first contributions, which means it's a small change. So students who are trying to contribute, you can look for that these tags and go through that and can contribute. And always there will be a contributing.md. MD is markdown file, like a readme. So read through this a few times to understand the steps and try to stick with that, because it's not like small team, it's people contributing from the world, all over the world. So everyone stick with the same process. So try to stick with the instructions in the contributing.md, and just start small. Okay, so I took a repo. I recently you'll be seeing about this particular project in the third session. So I went to one of the meetup last week, couple of weeks back, and I get to know about this tool, which one of our presenter will be talking the third session. So I just thought to contribute something, like maybe I can use this software as a process here, like give you guys an idea. So I said contributing.md, right? So if you look at the code base, and you can look for the license first thing. So whether it's open source, if any Git repository, if you look at on the right side, it will show the license. So you can check whether it's a open source license, whether you can contribute, and even some licenses are available. The code is open, you cannot modify it, or even modifying it, you cannot redistribute it. So you just make sure you are contributing to the right code base and with the right licensing. You can go through the license to understand, but if you are just wanted to check whether it's contributable on, you can look at this licensing, whether it's superseded the rules of this open source initiative, like free to use, modify, share. So you can verify here whether it's an open source license. So Apache 2, it's an open source license. And on this code base, you look for the files. There is a contributing.md. So by default, readme.md will show on the repository. So this markdown, you click on this particular contributing.md, then you will see the instructions, like how you report the issue and how you set up the development environment and how you submit the code. So, and there will be an agreement to it. So that's based on the license. So, and that way you can learn about it. And we talked about the first contributions, right? I was checking on the issues. So they will classify whether it's a feature or the bug, or it's a good first issue. So you can look for these small ones, the tagged as low-hanging fruit or good first issue, and open that particular issue and try to read and how you can understand, contribute to that. And if you have questions, try to add it as contributing to open source. Like, you need to be more communicative, because they are not sitting right next to you just to ask. So you should just leave a comment and whatever your question, and you will get a response to that. That way you will be more communicative on contributing. So all your skills will develop if you are contributing to your open source project, not just the coding, communication and networking, everything will grow up. So look for that and try to contribute. So we can see a quick demo with this. Rama will just take 5 more minutes and quickly run through it. And
No problem, Silva. You have got time.
Okay. So open a repo with good first issue, and you can start with that. But I wanted to show you how we can create a new issue. It's not about solving the problem or solving bug fix, identifying some issues, even the typos, still a good contribution. So I was looking through this code base yesterday, and find out a small typo that will be helpful for us to kickstart it. So that was this file. So we see that this, we got into this repo and we go through this README. Let's create an issue. Let's find out and create an issue. And just reading through it, we are told you are interested in contributing HA build, and whether you are fixing a bug, adding a feature, improving the docs. Every contribution makes HA build smarter. So any contribution we make, that's going to keep the software good. And then let's look at so to keep our community vibrant and welcoming, all members must adhere to the code of conduct. So we just stick to the license of this particular software. So reporting bugs, bug reports help make HA Builder better for everyone. Before creating a new issue, please check such existing ones to avoid duplicates. So we don't want to create duplicate ones. So we should just check on the existing issues before creating any new one. And when you're ready to report a bug, head over this issues page, and we have to choose whether it's a bug or feature request. And so this is a template they have provided, and we fill that. Okay, but first let's so I found something on one of the file called HA defaults. So I'm going into that file, HA defaults. So we can leverage, I just wanted to show you guys, like, we can leverage some AI tools integrated in the software industry right now. So ask Copilot about this file. I'm going to ask, hey bro, find out if there is any typo in this file. So it's just searching on this file, and it's suggesting me, okay, line number 9, that's having default code scanner prompt and some text here. So there is a line that says world call should probably world class. So here it's written, you're a world call security analyst. So even like if you look at this line, you are a world-class software engineer. So when we are prompting GenAI tool, like, you should give a role. That's a prompt engineering. You should just give a role so that it can act based on that. So when we doing the security scanning, so this particular prompt is for the code scanning. So we are giving that role to the LLM model that you are a security analyst, so that it can act based on that and it will find out the security issues. So it's a typo. We are human, we make small mistakes. So that finding that and contributing that, it's a improvement still. And the second one, decades. So that's A is unnecessary, but it's not gonna make huge impact. So that's also an example. We shouldn't blindly follow what AI is suggesting us. So we just validate whether we should do it or not. So we can ignore that. And the line number 9, there is a file should be probably as field. So on the same line, you have decades of experience in this field. So there is a typo, file. So we can report this issue. Okay. So let's start that. So getting into this issues tab. So create a new issue. It's a bug or feature. It's not a feature, so we can categorize to a bug. And the title, just to make it quicker, I just prepared some text and to speed up the process. And what happened? Also tell us what did you expect to happen. So since it's a typo, we can say that the phrase "you are world-class security analyst" should be corrected as "you are a world-class security analyst." So that's the issue we found, and we can just add these 2 lines. Okay, steps to reproduce. It's not a bug while we're running on that. So it's just a typo in the code base. It just improves it. So still the AI tools are smart enough. Even it says you have decades of experience in this field. It's still autocorrect and it will work well, but still being a correct is also improves a little bit. So it's a typo in default prompt. So there is no really steps to reproduce. And relevant API request support, no, there is not like that. What operating system you are using? Just using Mac, I will answer that. So what is the build version? So when someone need to reproduce the issue, they need to understand what is the release of this particular software so that they can reproduce the issue. The build is it's V340. And any additional context? No. No. So this would be good enough to solve this. So let's create. So that's a contribution. We made it together. Okay. And the maintainers of this code base will have access to this. So they will review and tag these labels, whether it's a small one and I mean good for the first contributions. So we have created issue. So that's a contribution we all made together, and we can try to fix it, right? So what would be the process to contribute? By fixing a bug. So for that, we need to thoroughly go through the contributing.md file of contact. So if you learn to contribute for one commit, even if it's a small change, you will understand the process, then you can keep contributing going forward. So to do that, we shouldn't spam with multiple branches created over here on the main repository. So it's always recommended to fork the repository. So which means we are taking the entire clone into our GitHub account. Okay. And there we can create a branch. And when we submit a pull request, which is submitting for the maintainers to review, that pull request will appear here. So if you look at this, so this was this fix, this code change or the commit implemented by this person, Yashu193 user. And this is the branch he developed this fix. He made all these file changes in the repository, but there is no branch you can identify here under this main code base. So main branch, because this particular branch is living inside his account and he just submitting the code changes here. Once the reviewer accepts, this will be added to the Presidio OS main branch. So that's the recommended approach, because we don't want to create hundreds of branches here and it will be messy. So we fork the repository. Okay, so let's do that. So when you click on this fork, it will ask you to enter a name, but I have already forked it. So I just, it will just pop up with the same name. You can have it under your repository, but I just added the word forked, just make sure the forked version of the repository I have. So I created the fork here, then I can clone this to my local. So I already cloned it. So you can see under my account, this is the repository, and the default branch available in this code base is main. Okay, so there is instructions how you create the branches. So as we were seeing the other one, it was prefixed as feed. So each one have its meaning on the contributing. So if it's a feature, you can flag it with that. So when you create the branches, you have to mention whether it's a feed or fix or it's a documentation docs. So that helps to maintainers to classify the request. So you have to read through this a couple of times. For the time being, I'm just, I have already read, so I'm just going with the process. So we create a branch. I'm just going to drop that branch which I created before. So this fix prompt typo. So I got the steps recorded here in the gist. So I will just post it in the chat in case you guys wanted to have a look. So we clone the repository and then we create a branch. So this is the, so this helps to get familiar with GitHub. So that's most important bread and butter of any software contribution or being a software engineer. So git checkout, I'm creating a branch with the prefix fix and prompt typo. And then I'm going to open this file because this is where we found that typo. Okay, so maybe we missed this. So okay, we have the option to edit. So we mentioned that this is the typo, but we missed to mention which file it is. So that's incompletion. So you need to make sure where you have, you need to be very clear on the details. So we need to mention this file names, only then the people will know where they have to make the change, right? So we need to be very careful with that. So good that we noticed it. So this is the file, we found that. So I'm going to open that file. So I'm going to look for world call. So this need to be changed as world class, right? So I'm going to make the change here. world class, and that is one other word is filed, right? To the top. Just going to replace filed with field. We can see the difference. B is not behaving well for me at the moment, so I'm just going to open this in VS Code for you guys to show it better. HA defaults. Okay, so it's world class, and after that, decades of experience in this field. So I just replaced it before, so that's why it's already changed. So that's the line. We have made the change. You're going to check out once and make sure I made only the right changes. So once again, so we are renaming it as class, and here I'm changing it to field, and adding it and git commit, fix the typo in the default prompt. Okay, it's running the so when we commit, it's running the ESLint. ESLint is making sure is there any tab spaces we have left or we missed any formatting issues. So it's running by default. That way the repository is built. That's a really good thing.
Great. Maybe while it's runs, okay, I think it's done. Okay, so lock and yeah.
So we can check the log. So we have made this commit. So that's just making sure that's the only change we have made, and review it. I'm just going to push this repo to the repository. Okay. So it pushed to the repository. Now if we get back to the my account, so that's where I cloned. Went to the home. So I got this fork repository here. And I can push this change. So it's suggesting to compare and create a pull request. When I create the pull request, you can see, so my branch here, the branch which we created here in this repository is this change is submitting to Presidio's main repository and the main branch, okay? And by default, it popped up with a fixed typo on default prompt. And so they're suggesting whether it's a, so when we submit the pull request, we have to be very clear on the details we need to provide. So it's a bug fix, we are making this change, and it's not a feature, it's not a breaking change, and it's not a document update. So then there is another checklist, changes limited to single feature. If it is a large one, we need to split. It's minor one, we are good. And running the npm test, we need to run the npm lint, make sure it's formatted properly. So on our commit, it ran all the linting process. So you can see here, running ESLint. So that verified all the formatting. It's all good. I created a change set using, no, it's not required. I have reviewed contributor guidelines. Yeah, so we have gone through this. So yes, we have gone through this. And apart from that, it's on the first thing it asks, describe your change in detail. What problem does this PR solve? So here we need to link the issue we have created, right? So we are solving this particular issue. So you can look at the preview, so but it will link to the issue we created. So we have to give the details, describe your changes in detail. We can refer it, but still it's good to mention. Fixing a typo in default prompt. Okay. So I'm removing this screenshot. We don't have anything and there is no additional details. It's straightforward. Then allow edits by maintainers. Yes, if they wanted to make any change, let them make it. So you have to review before submitting, make sure we have made only the right changes, because there could be accidental changes added into it. So the call is changed to class and file is changed to field. So we are creating a pull request here and it's submitted, and reviewers will review the maintainers and they will accept it. Like, so we are made the first one. When we made the multiple one, then we very well know about the project, and you could be a maintainer in future. So you can be a maintainer of the project, which means you are one of the runner of that project. So keep contributing. The one day you will become a maintainer who reviews all the contributions made by people. So, okay, so that's two contributions we made. One is created an issue and submitted a pull request. Start with this, like today, after this session, pick any project and look for small one and take a pledge. Every one of us in this call make a contribution today. So I made it. I can take this as a climbing for that. So I contributed it. So we all contribute. Okay, take a pledge, and after this call, please make sure you contribute it. Okay. So any questions? Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are.
Hi, sir. This is Saravan from Banari Institute of Technology.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. My question is, can you find all the software's GitHub profile like you showed for our highs?
All software?
All software's GitHub profile, sir. Like now you have contributor.
Right.
Can you find all the software's GitHub profile like this, sir? In
Okay.
GitHub?
Yes, in GitHub you can search for it. It's all repositories are classified as public and private. So all open source repositories will be available as public repository. Okay,
Okay.
so you
Okay.
can go to the search and search for React. It will show the React React project. So React is initiated by Facebook. So you can see the React repository here.
Yes, sir.
So it's under MIT license. MIT is another license, fully open source, and you can verify. And similarly, you can go to the issues. So they classify as type bug. So you can go through the issues over here, and you can contribute. Just
Okay.
the same process of what we did right now. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So if you want to do any programming language, try to search for that keyword in the GitHub, and you will land into that repository and look for the issues, and you can start looking at it. With
Yes, sir.
the AI tools, we can still contribute more.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Thanks. So, and
Okay.
then how to find out that the bug we found is already fixed, sir?
The bug.
Like the bug we found now, sir, it whether it is already fixed or not, how can we find out?
Okay. So right now, we found this issue, right?
Yes, sir.
And we created a bug fix for that, right?
Yes.
So, but if you look at the code base again, still it will be showing that bug because
Yes,
it's
sir.
not merged into our code base yet, right?
Yes.
So similarly, how they suggested before creating any issue, you look through the issues list, whether it's already created.
Yes.
Similarly, before you contributing
Okay, sir.
to the issue, like you can look at the pull request, whether there is a open pull request, which is solving the same problem we are yet to solve.
Okay, sir.
Here you can verify it's already fixed up
Yes, sir. Thanks, sir.
in the
Thanks
project.
for your insights, sir.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, sir,
sir.
and I really appreciate. Like that's how we communicate. You stepped up as first one to ask
Yes.
questions, so
Yes,
that
sir.
highly appreciated.
Yes,
It
sir.
will take you
It's
ahead.
very yes, sir. Yes.
So one more point to add to what Selva said, you can also see the discussions on that particular issue. So if you are even picking up an issue, you can actually post it in the notes that I'm working on it so that people know that somebody else is actually looking into.
So thank you, Ram. So I think we can leave a comment here, okay, so that someone else won't ended up working on this. So we got the fix here on the issue. We can go ahead and comment.
On the issue, Selva, I think we are on the peer, right?
You are right, Ram. So we have to report, mention on the issue. I think it's GitHub is smart enough auto tag it because we mentioned this issue in the pull request, right?
Yep. So when there is a huge future that takes weeks or months, then always good to actually put it on the issue notes that you are looking into it, so that other people won't jump into it as well. So, Saravanan, this is for your question also, how we get to know. Yeah.
Yes,
So
thanks.
GitHub auto commits here that since we have mentioned this, fixed type on default prompt is added to this issue. So as Ram said, for the bigger ones, yes, we have to comment to make everyone aware.
Um, any questions, teams? Yeah, you can definitely ask, or you can even put it in the chat.
So I made this slides available to public, so you can click on this link to access this slides.
Awesome. So I think team, please post your questions throughout the session. So Selva, Shriram, and Nijin, and our other experts are here, so we'll actually respond throughout. So Selva, anything else that you wanted to share just before we move on to the next one?
No, that's all. So you can connect me on the LinkedIn. I will share this link in the chat, and yeah, that's it. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. I took a little more time in additional. Apologies to that. Thanks, guys.
No, I think this is great, Silva. So thank you so much for actually having a preparation on how we can actually effectively make this, and even a live contribution can be made so that it can be insights for 300 plus people to actually go and contribute. Thanks so much. So a couple of questions, Jane.
Covered my part of like how to contribute. So we can take some time from there and give it to Selva. So Selva, you covered it already. Yeah. Listen here, Selva.
Thanks, Nitin.
Super. Yeah. So how many of you actually already contributed to open source? Anyone? Just post in the chat if any. Otherwise, I'll just move on to the next one.
Yes, I contribute.
Have anyone contributed to any of the open source projects in the past?
Yes, sir.
Just put your link on the chat. So if you contribute to any of the open source, your code and had a PR, etc., or issues, just post. Anyone? Awesome, Naveen. Anyone else?
Whoever said yes to that, like you can post in the chat so that people can interact also. You can share your contribution link so that people get to know about it.
Yeah. Awesome. That's great. Okay, so one another thing that I want to add with Selva, because Selva was saying take this as a pledge and go and contribute because it's going to have much more impact, right? I'll just take another couple of minutes just to share some more insights. So if you ever thought the world as is now without open source, it cannot be on the technology. So the days from Linux, how it actually evolved from the BSD, how Linux Torvalds and Richard Stallman, they actually made these contributions. We will not have these many operating systems in the world. That is one. And two, something like Android. So if Google didn't actually make Android as an open source project, then we will not have these many smartphones with having different flavor of their own operating systems. So yeah, as Selva said, based on the license, it can be open source and everybody can actually do open source. Or as like MIT, you just take the open source, make modifications and redistribute it and just mention who actually you fork from or just add node it. So even apart from pledge and doing it, so one another thing that you all wanted to be aware of. So the hiring pattern for college is actually changing over the period of time. So when we started 10, 20 years, 15 years back, so it was all how good you communicate, how analytical good you are, and are you familiar with some of the programming languages, etc. But later the period of time, we were actually assessing, can you code? Are you able to write this particular piece of code? Can you think of the pseudo code? And then it evolved as, do you actually develop an application in short term? And can you actually make modifications to it? And then later, we were actually looking at GitHub contributions. So even your colleges might have been pushing you all for having more number of repositories and contributions in the GitHub. Now, what we ended up is, as an recruiter and the employer, when we look at some of these profiles, we see 90% of them are actually just cloned from someone else, and it's just the ideal repository where it cannot make more value. So now that itself has a less value on your profile, whether you made contributions. So because what we say is at the end of the day, you just push that repository. So one, we should make contributions on a regular basis. So throughout the 4 years, how much you have contributed, that is going to be the one key value. And two, so open source, no one else can actually take credit for you. So you pick your own projects that you like to on the technologies that you want to, and then make contributions, because that is going to be the key going forward. And it's not net new. So definitely companies like Amazon, Google, and all of the other products and tech giants, fans, they actually hire based on the open source contributions. That's already happening for years. Now everyone else will also go in that same path, just to make sure you're actually collaborating with the wider community and you're following some of the best practices and you have already had that much of exposure. So that's going to be one of the key, even to filter out your profile in the upcoming evaluations. So just make a note of it and just think through that perspective. Also on the self growth and next opportunities, it is going to have bigger impact. And as we are talking about open source, so I know most of you know who Sam Altman is. He actually had almost 500 million plus users for his product ChatGPT in the last 2 weeks. But one thing that he actually regretted for. Any of you guess what it could be? So his product is in the top, ChatGPT. I know all of you might be using it. What would be the one thing that he can actually regret? And he has actually regretted for?
By making it open source.
Yeah. So he's exactly who said that?
Maybe.
Naveen, thank you so much. Yeah. So that's exactly the statement that he made in one of the recent TEDx talk. So I'm already delay on this and I feel really regret. And he already made a plan and you will soon see the open source version of that as well. So it's going to make great impact. Definitely we have other LLMs which are already open sourced from Meta and others, but people are actually giving more thoughts to the open sourcing. So that's a big impact that it has. I'll also share that link on this talk, so you can actually watch when you find time. Okay, without further ado and further delay, I would like to have Shriram. So he is a technology specialist in Infosys, and he's an architect as well. He's one of our senior, and he was one of our mentor during college days. He has guided us through. He actually came into different flavor of open source contributions, and he made several contributions. And we would like to hear his experience on how his contributions made impact to the career and what he's doing now and other stuff. Sriram, happy to have you here, and please go for it.
Hi Ram, and hi everybody. So sorry, my internet connection is not today, so I'm just going on with the audio call. So definitely, this is a good forum for the technical people to explore their things, and I'm obviously happy to share my experience in the open source. So before going ahead, and thanks for the Selva for the wonderful explanation on the how you can have a open source contribution, and you have created a 2 PS, and kudos to you to take it forward. And on top of it, just I want to share my experience probably. So hope all of them can able to see my screen, right? Yeah, perfect. So see, this is my profile. Just in this session, just for a 10 minutes talk, just I prepared a slide. Just I want to show my takeaways from the open source contribution and how I benefited from the contribution. Just I want to share my experience. So that's the whole agenda of this call. So before that, as Ram rightly mentioned that nowadays the people who are recruiting, just they are more concerned about their GitHub profile. GitHub profile is one of a kind of a key attribute for the recruitment purposes. So this is one of my key contribution and my GitHub profile in during 2022. Just this is my contribution in one of the open source community, which I have been associated with a kind of a global team from different parts of the world. So just I want to share this experience in this session so that you guys can aware of and you can keep motivated how on contributing on the open source aspects. So here you can see when a recruiter is just seeing any one of the profile, this chart is the most important part. So they will be just noticing how much contribution you have made, and they can able to see the your value of contribution in which tech stack, and how many commits you have done, and the timeline. Everything can be seen here. So this is a kind of on USP area. So the people can go with a kind of a good profile for they have a consistent contributions. So this is one thing. So I have been more active on the open source contribution during the year of 2022 and 23. Sorry, 22, I could say. 21 also during the COVID period. So eventually, community onboarding. This is a kind of a first step. You have to be understand different community has different standards and different way of working. I want to run through my experience in the community onboarding. So to start with, I was approached from a guy from LinkedIn to do a contribution on the React components and libraries. So before that, I was much interested on taking those opportunity. So to evaluate me or to onboard me smoothly, they have given an exercise for me. I want to run through my learnings in those exercises. So the exercise is simple. I want to clone a Slack website similar to the Slack. Then I want to build a Slack clone web application using React. So this is a kind of a very simple exercise that they have given to me. So I was very much frustrated and afraid how I can take it forward. Then I feel motivated since I had some experience in React. So to start with, I try to give a kind of a pull request with their team. So they have a clear protocol how we can onboard into the repo and how we can able to clone. I think Silva has pretty much clearly explained on how we can able to fork the repo and how to create a PR and this thing. So in this session, in this point, I want to explain about the PR message formats. So how the PR message formats are most important since all of them are working from remote, right? So let me show you the type of PR formats that was guidelines that was educated to me. Okay. So the PR is a kind of a pull request that Silva told. So you can see this is my kind of a PR that was done before. So in a Slack application, I have altered the class name of a channel list. So this is a kind of a task that I have done as a part of a contribution. So you can see these are the formats that majority of the open source. It's a kind of a more generic format. When you do a task, right? Say for example, you want to do a kind of a bug fix, or you want to create a feature. So, and you want to create a documentation. So there are many activities that you can do in a software development and life cycle, right? So these are the formats you have to adhere in terms of contribution. If you're trying to do without this standards or thing, simply they will reject your PR. You have to again recreate it, and you have to do it. See, as Dhoni said, you want to trust the process here, and you have to follow. So this is a kind of a global mantra in open source contribution. So each community will have each contribution, each processes and their state. You want to understand their state as a part, and you have to do it. Then the scope of work and the examples, maybe I could say. So for this commit message, so what are the examples they have followed is mentioned here. So as a developer and as a contributor, I will be understanding and I will go through it. Just follow this. That's it. So it's more pretty simple of creating a pull request guideline. So this is a kind of a part from the refactoring and code care. See, as a second step, you have given a PR with a proper message format. So how will you interact with those persons? How your code, they will review your code and everything, right? So I will show you a PR now, which was created by me before. So this is a PR. Okay? So I have placed a screenshot what the development I have done. and I have created a PR with some file changes. It should be a kind of a tangible PR. It should not be big or too big, so that they will not accept. First of all, the PR should be more tangible. So you can see a kind of a maintainer who commented on my code that why I'm using hard-coded values, right? Then see, to be honest, I don't know who is this contributor. He's somewhere sitting in US or Europe or somewhere, or maybe in India. So he has given why I have written this logic, and I have justified the answer. Then he has given a kind of a message like look good to me. This is a kind of a short PR comment process. So similarly, these PRs will be reviewed by the maintainers, and if there is any problem or the thing, you can do a Slack chat with them or a personal email to them, so that you can get more interaction and understanding of what is the task you have to do, and you have to take it forward. So this gives you a confidence that you can do something better and better every day for the application and from the learning perspective, right? See, definitely this will improve your what do you say, your personal works and the official work, and definitely this kind of interaction will make your work more better and better a day. So this is a kind of a PR process that I have to show between myself and the maintainer of the project, right? So this takes about of your refactoring and your code cap, then the documentation. So as I mentioned before that, once you're going into the community and thing, so whatever you are doing apart from the coding, say for example, you have to write standards and everything, that has to be documented somewhere in the repo. So I think nowadays there are many aspects, like we are following a mono repo concepts. There will be a documentation for each and every folder, and so that the developer can understand and they can be take it forward. So this is a kind of a documentation that was done to me, which benefit to understand the PR message format. So definitely, so everything, say for example, if they want to do a kind of a scope changes in the directory structure of the React, so what are the changes has to be present in each and every folder. So a person developing should understand what the purpose of this folder, and he has to commit the code accordingly. If you are trying to commit a code from constant to util, definitely they will reject it. So this will definitely make the person more to contribute in an autopilot mode. So documentation is a kind of a most important factor that we have to taken forward. Then from the next 2 points, I would say that from professionalism and mindset and attitude, see, open source contribution should be consistent. Consistency is the key here. So you have to spend every half an hour a day to contribute, so that your GitHub profile will be more mature, and you can get practice to learn every day. So you should not contribute for 1 month and you leave, and you come after 2 months. You will definitely lose the momentum and it will not benefit. So moreover, the global opportunities now, I think in the current IT world and the GenAI thing, so definitely there are many ramp down of jobs and happening. So definitely this GitHub profile will accelerate you and showcase your skills to the recruiters, so that you can easily onboard it on with multiple teams easily. So this is a kind of experience I got. I got multiple opportunities globally. I got multiple opportunities across Europe, US, UK, based on my contribution and my profile. Definitely, this will benefit you once you are into the open source contributions, and happy coding to all of them. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Awesome.
If there is any question, I can happy to help you. I will share my GitHub link and the LinkedIn profile. So if anybody needs a personal guidance or anything, I can happy to share and help you.
Thank you so much, Sriram, bro, because I know what's going on with the other commitments, and even you're in a remote place now, and all other activities happening. Thanks for jumping in and sharing your highly valuable experience and insights. So maybe one question that I may ask. So based on your contributions, how much your profile was attracted by the employers, and how did the interview pattern change? So just before the open source contribution, and then just after the open source contribution.
See, probably as you mentioned before that during the interview process, probably they will be checking your coding skill, right? So once I done my contribution, they can go to the GitHub profile and they can actually see what is the actual coding I have done. So that kind of filtration is obviously reduced, and it's not 100%, at least by 50%. So the interviewer might get understanding that what we are strong in and what we are not strong in. So we can, if say I'm strong in more on React and Python, so the questions will be more straightforward to me in the interview, and it helps me to clear the interview to the next round, and we can take it forward. So that's a kind of a biggest takeaway from this GitHub contribution, and more or less the interviewer will be checking all your contribution nook and corner in the international circle. So it definitely benefits on getting what's the skill set we know from our thing, instead of asking multiple questions during the starting part of the interview process.
Thank you. So as you said a couple of times, we get connected with the global collaborators in the tech industry. So definitely anyone who is looking for startup, or anyone who wanted to get a job or even get a remote job, etc. I think this is where it all starts, with creating a simple issue or picking a simple issue and contributing to it. So definitely you'll get greater opportunities.
Yeah, definitely, Ram. It's rightly said.
Yeah, thank you, Shyam. So, Tim, any questions for Sriram? Awesome. Maybe so if you have any questions, please post in the chat, and we'll be happy to answer all of them. Okay, and now we have our third part of the session today, which is the last part of the session, and it's going to be as you are all seeing the AI momentum. It's the curious part of the session, I would say, because you know how, I'm not sure how many of you heard about vibe coding and the recent tech changes that's happening on writing code, or how AI actually generates code, etc. So that's a part that's going to be. So we have Nijin today. So Nijin and myself work for Presidio, and he's the associate director and taking care of some of the digital practices and what Selva shown us high GitHub open source project. So he's actually looking after that and helping the team and mentoring them as well. And now he's going to actually share with us on what this product is and how we have actually thought through, and what it can actually do for you, and how you can actually contribute and make your profile much more stronger, and get started with open sourcing. So we wanted to do this because definitely not a self-promotion. There are various angles. One, since it's a GenAI Enablement series, we wanted to everyone in the community understand what is the myth or what is the truth about GenAI. So what we should do and what we should not do. One good example is how actually Selva went into the Open Native Foundation's website to look at the licenses. So whether to go into ChatGPT and know the high level, or do we need to go to the authentic website to look after some of the crucial informations? And how do we actually direct GenAI? So that happened. And we were also seeing LLM applications development. And with all of these expertise, we shouldn't stop there as a developer. So only open source actually makes us to the next level. That's what every leader in the industry actually thinking about. So that's why we want to do this. And as part of that, we want also showcase a product built on GenAI and which will also have opportunity to contribute. So that's the one of the reasons that we want to have this. So thank you, Nijin. It's all yours. I know it's going to be much more interesting another 1 hour.
Okay, thanks, Ram. Thanks everyone for joining on a Sunday. Good. So I think most of the things which I had to say on the open source contribution, how to contribute to HAI, all of those Selva actually covered. So thank you so much, Selva, for walking in detail about how to create a request, how to add a feature, fork it, everything. I think that is going to be useful. So what I am going to show you is like the before part of it, how HAI actually runs. What is HAI all about? How you can use HAI as part of your day-to-day life to make sure you accelerate certain things which you do. So that is what I'm going to show you. Once you have a little familiarity of the tool, now you will know like, hey, what is actually missing out in that tool so that I can start contributing back to itself. So that's the overall idea of it. So yeah, since we have already had 4 sessions, this is the 5th session, we'll probably start with a small quiz. So we'll actually go over a few things like, as a recap or something. Even if you're not attending the first 4 sessions, this should be straightforward. Just let's make sure that everybody has some of your hands dirty. So I put a chat link. If you can actually click that and join that, just give your name and just join it. So you can start joining guys on that one. Yeah.
Maybe if you want to add your college name at prefix or suffix, please do so.
Yep. So Ram will also have some gifts in the end if possible.
It asks for a password.
Oh, sorry. I will actually give those details as well. Sorry. Thanks, Yogesh. So these are the details. You can you have to give the access code as. Let me share my screen so we'll be able to see that better. Ram, I may have to quit and reopen. Just give me a second. I'll just quit and reopen.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah. Sorry about it. Yeah. Okay, we have a lot of participants. Do you see my entire screen, guys? Okay, we'll give 30 more seconds for people to join. So yeah, let's make it a little quick. Okay, I think we have a pretty 35 people. That's good. So we'll get started. Last 5 seconds, anyone want to join? Good. Okay, super. So let's all start with the first question. Which of the following is an AI assistant which can help us to write the code? Sorry. Yeah. One second. Tim, you can start answering. If you're seeing the question, you can start answering. Yeah. So we have the answers in everywhere. So the right answer is everything. So all of your AI assistants, whether it's ChatGPT, Gemini is from Google, Claude. There is something called Anthropic. Anthropic has a very good version called LLM model called Claude, and Claude actually helps us with the coding perfectly compared to any other thing so far. Okay, and DeepSeek is something which you have heard about, which was it's not recent. It's been like quite 4 to 5 months now, but still that's was a thing which just came up. And Grok was by Twitter. So any of this AI assistant you can use, they will have their API keys and you can start using them for coding. Okay, so let's move to the second one. So which of the following is an example of an AI agent? You would have heard about agents and something in the past. So since people are joining, it is going back and forth, but yeah, you can still answer it, yes. You would have heard about agents, all of those things coming up. Do you guys still see the old question or new question? Just to confirm, what are you seeing?
So the second question, which of the following is an example of an AI agent?
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, the answer is like self-driving car and YouTube recommendation system. Yeah, wall clock and calculator is not an agent because they are programmed to do a certain specific set of work. And agent is something which it can take decisions on their own. Say for example, if you have a self-driving car, if something comes in the front, the car has to take a decision independently, saying like, should I go right or left? It is actually given that power. Same thing with your YouTube recommendation system. Based on how you actually watch things, it is able to recommend this is what it is. But in case of both wall clock and calculator, I think we don't have to have agents because or particular task kurta that will keep on doing. So that's what it is all about. Okay, super. So moving on to the third one. AI can only work if explicitly programmed for every possible situation, which means we should sit and program for every possible situation. Only then the AI things can work. Is it true or false? 5 seconds left. So the answer is false. So you cannot sit and program every situation. What if Ram lifts his left leg, what to do? What Ram lifts right leg? You don't know. It's all like AI has to be generating by itself. So the answer is false. You cannot sit and do a lot of if else everywhere trying like the situation. In that case, the possibilities will be unlimited. You can never actually fulfill those situations, right? So that is exactly the power of AI. Because just like humans, we don't know like what happens. We take our decisions independently based on the situation. So that's how AI will also be doing. Moving on to the next one. So we were talking about generating more of code snippets. So how do you think AI can actually generate code snippets? Is it by understanding the code context? This is pretty big, but yeah. Okay, so there are 4 answers. So if AI is to be deployed in understanding the code snippet, then probably what happens is like you have to give the code context which you're working. For example, if you have a hello world application, the entire application has to be aware by AI so it can give you the right code. Okay, or since it's again more of a generative thing, if it has already certain functions or certain files which is already available in GitHub, Stack Overflow, and anywhere else in the internet, if it is part used as a part of training or something, it can actually pull the code from there as well. It can also make your code run and try to observe the output and start correcting things. Say, for example, AI can write your code, AI can run your code. If it is actually going through some errors or something, AI can take those errors and start fixing it. So that is also possible. The fourth option is not right because that's very much similar to what I told earlier. You cannot have a database full of all predefined code and all possible combinations just to AI to go and pick it up. So it's a 1, 2, 3, and 5. So the next question, which of the following is our goals of AI? This is something which you have heard throughout the session, but just want to recap. Okay, there are still people who thinks do nothing, just the hype. That's perfectly fine, because AI is around the world, and some people are still thinking it as hype. But unless you start seeing its actual power, you will not be able to understand. It's not like a 5-star at do nothing, something like that. So definitely not to replace humans. AI is not going to replace humans. AI is actually going to make machines think and act like humans, and that's also going to help humans do their job faster and better. Okay, so how I would see is like, hey, certain place sometimes we had to walk. Earlier, before the car was invented, or trains were invented, or flights were invented, we had to walk so much time to reach a certain destination. When these vehicles started coming in, we actually got there faster. Similarly, if AI is going to be around, it is going to help us make our lives better. Okay, and that is what it is. And at some points, just we were talking about the self-driving car example, right? How a human would think. Similarly, a car could also think and make decisions on the go without much human interference. But humans will still be there in the loop. Humans will always be there in the loop. So humans are not going to go out of the work anytime. Okay. Last question: AI is equal to automation. Is it true or false? Okay, so AI is not equal to automation. So the answer is false. I think majority of you got it wrong. AI and automation are two different streams. Automation is something like, if you tell it to do a certain thing, it will only do certain things. For example, if you have your ATM machines, ATM machines are programmed to do a certain thing in a certain way. It cannot decide or something. Say, for example, if you ask like, hey, if it doesn't have a 50 rupees note, it is programmed to check if it is 50 to. It cannot on the go tell you like it is there or not there, right? But AI is like, it is only going to accelerate a lot of things. It's not going to actually automate things. So those are two different things. That is the main understanding all of us have to have before we delve deeper into AI. If you feel like automation has a problem of replacing humans, but just with AI, it is only going to accelerate the way how human works. Okay, so that's all about the quiz. And I think we have few winners. Nityananda K, he got 5 out of 6 right, which is really, really good. And Selva, Harith, all of you got 4 out of 6, which is good as well. So thanks guys, thanks for participating. I hope it was a little informative before we jump into the other session. Ram, you can make a note of the name, yeah, if possible, get them some bits. Yeah, super. All right, so jumping back to our session. So today we wanted to talk more about HAI. So I thought like, we'll actually walk you through a little bit of slides for 5 minutes before I start showing you the actual demo. So can you confirm if you can see my presentation? I hope I'm sure. Yes, Ram? Yeah. All right. So we were talking about one question, right? Hey, that's nothing. Why the hype? So generative AI is all around in the corner, and the hype is because it can actually create, reason, and interact. When you tell create, earlier, if I had to create an image, I needed to know certain things of like Photoshop skills, movie creation, everything, right? Today you tell you know certain things, give it to the chat GPTs of the world or Geminis of the world, it can actually create the content for you. Say for example, if I have to create a presentation for this session, I can tell GenAI saying like, hey, I want to create a presentation, I'm going to cover topics like A, B, C, D, N, E, why don't you actually create some things for it? So it can actually create docs, PPTs, all of those things. The third one, it can actually do coding, a lot of coding. So that is where we had an idea of like, hey, why not use GenAIs to actually code for us, so that we can actually sit back and start understanding and start learning from what it is. So a lot of creation can be done. Second thing is more about reasoning. It can actually reason with you, right? Earlier computers were not provided to reason to you. Say like how I would just go and ask somebody a question. Yeah, I have this thought, what do you think about it? Probably as a human, you would give me some reasons to convince me, do this, do that, all of those things, right? But so systems used to give you a standard answer of like links or something, go through this link, you will be able to figure out. It didn't give a proper reason. But now it can give a proper reason. Hey, I think I'm not doing the right thing by doing. It can actually convince me by saying like, why not do this, do this, do this, all of those things. It can actually start reason. I don't know how many of you have started to talk to it. I do it sometimes like, hey, what do you think about this thing? So I recently asked a question to GPT saying like, hey, in an apartment, there are 10 floors, and just tell me which button in the lift would be clicked the least. That was the question. So it's more of a reasoning question. It's more of a logical reasoning question. Okay. And so 10 floors, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the ground floor. So GPT did tell me, like, ground floor is the most clicked button because everybody would use a lift to come down. That's the most recently clicked button, right? But other floors, if you see, people who live in those floors only will go much. And the least clicked button was first floor, because people who live in the first floor occasionally takes steps to go. They don't take lift always. So do you understand the power of, like, the reasoning capability of the GPT? So this would not be, if it was a programmed question, then there will be some links which is shown, but it was able to figure out. So ask some questions like this, see like how your LLMs answer. That's actually very good. And it also provides you a way to interact with that, communicate with it, and do a lot of things. So we wanted to capitalize on these things. And we were thinking of, like, hey, AI is coming everywhere. AI is in this field, that field, all of those fields. AI is in research, AI is in space, AI in cooking, AI in shopping, everything. So we are somebody who works with the software development life cycle, right? So typical life of an engineer, IT engineer, revolves around SDLC. You get a project, you go through a lot of requirements, you kind of design it, then you do a lot of development, then you do testing on top of it, deploy it, and again maintain it. So this cycle continues. So we thought, like, hey, why don't we use AI? Why don't we leverage AI to actually accelerate these things? When I tell accelerate, if a customer comes to us and says, like, hey, when can you build this application? When can you build this entire website for us? We would actually tell them a time, right? Hey, 6 months. This will anywhere take between 6 months, or this will tell this is a big project. Let's do it in agile methodology. Let's do it like, overall it'll take like 2 years. So everybody depends on the time and cost, right? Say, for example, if I'm going to order a bike, and if I go to the showroom and tell, like, hey, I need to get this bike, if they tells like 6 months, and if I go to a nearby showroom and they tell if they can deliver in 3 months, as a customer, I'm happy. Like, all of us want things at the instant fast, right? We don't want to wait for a longer period of time. So that's exactly the mentality of all clients who wants to build real applications with software also will do. So we thought, like, hey, why don't we kind of bring in AI, kind of actually start tweaking these processes so that we can get their product sooner to market, or get their software sooner to market. And if you, on a high level, if you see, majority of the time is spent on development, right? 60% of the entire life cycle is spent on development. Then if you see, requirement analysis is something which also takes, and requirement analysis varies from company to companies. Some companies do a lot of research, ground research. If you see product-based companies, say, for example, if a company like Swiggy or Zomato is there, if a third company is going to come to the market, they have to spend a lot of time in research just to figure out, like, how am I going to be in competition with the established partners. So requirement analysis time also varies for a bigger reason. So to start with it, we thought, like, hey, why don't we actually capture the development and requirements analysis phase? We can make those things a little faster so that people can ship their products sooner. And that is where we actually brought in something called HAI, which we call it as human AI, because we realized very soon that AI is not equal to automation. We always wanted human in the loop to give it. It is just like, for example, if I'm working with any of you guys on a college interns, if I have to come and tell you, like, hey, Nityananda, can you actually go and do this task for me? Probably I can just give it. He might not automate at this point of time because he's more of a college student, right? But what I can do is, like, I can go nudge him, I can go and tell him, like, do this way, that way, then probably do it. But still, I kind of delegated my work to him. I can get it sooner at a faster rate because I can start concentrating on the some other thing. Similarly, at this point, Hi is more like your fellow developer or a peer who's going to work with you, where you can actually give a lot of human insights to it, and so it can actually start developing. So this is where we actually thought we'll come in something called build, okay? And within the Hi interface, we have a lot of other domains or other streams which are working. But for the open sourcing, which we wanted to show it today, we wanted to show more of a build thing, okay? And this is more of a human-centric approach, where we are calling it as an accelerator, which is actually helping us to increase or deliver faster outcomes in the SDLC lifecycle as such. So within build, we have like three main streams. One is specify, another is code generator, and another is factify. I'm happy that Selva actually showed you that open source thing. So if you go to that site, you can see all of these things which is present there. The code is actually out there. And as Ram said, we also wanted to give back to the community so that anybody who can actually start using this can actually faster their results or something. And I don't know how much you can use AI for your college lab exercises, but still, if you're doing some mini projects for your customers, or if you're doing some some internships, or some of you would be still developing some apps or websites for some other nearby stores or nearby companies. So you can start use these things and start accelerating your entire journey. So when we actually used HA build, what we did figure out was like, if you see the traditional process and the build, you can see the number of differences, right? If you are doing it in a traditional process without using AI or HA build, it would have anywhere taken for us 2 years. But when we use this build, it can actually do it in 1 year. So customer is definitely happy because you can actually get to market at a faster rate, right? And also the number of hours is nothing but the cost which the customer has to spend for actually, giving this, getting the ready this project. So that is also reduced. So customer wise, they are happy. And from a organization wise, we are also happy because we can take in more projects at the same time with the same lean team as well. So it's a win-win situation for all of us. And just to give a high level of what is Specify, Code Generator, and Factify, Specify is more about converting the high level requirements into user stories and tasks. So in a typical enterprise, in an organization, there's a lot of enhancements spent on requirements analysis. So there are a lot of people like project managers, business analysts who actually work very close with the client and the development team to actually come up with a neat story for like what have to be built, what task has to be built. Because when you work in colleges, you might take up the entire thing and work. But in real time, we'll have a team size of like, close to 10 or 20. So everybody cannot work on everything. So a PM or a business analyst comes, divides the tasks for us and says like, hey, this is the task you take on, this is the task you take on, all of those things. So there are some tools like Trello. If you used it, some of you would have used it in your college. Trello, that's more of a task separating tool. Jira is a very good software. You would have heard of these things, but once you start coming to organizations will start using it. So we thought like a BA has to sit and write the entire user story. A user story will anywhere go between 5 to 25 or 30 lines. It's a very big process, and they have to come up with a lot of user stories. So we thought, why not we actually leverage AI to bring those? I'll show you a demo of those things. And the next thing is Code Generator. Now that you have the tasks which is made ready by the Specify, why not actually take those and start using those tasks into write a code? You don't have to write the code. Probably Build will actually write the code for you, where you can kind of understand and nudge Hi to tell like, do this way, that way, all of those things. So that's how we want. So this is the two things which I'll show you demo. Factify is also open source. It is also out there in the same GitHub page, which I will share it with you as well. That's more used for testing purpose. So if you see in the SDLC lifecycle, you have requirements gathering, you have development, you have testing, all of those things. So we wanted to actually penetrate into all of those things. So it's just not about making one phase faster, right? If you make all the phase faster, ultimately the entire SDLC lifecycle will become faster. So we wanted to actually get there as well. So this is what we are at this point of time. And as I said, Hi also has a lot of different streams which you are working on, but the segment of Hi is all open source, free to use. You can actually download the code, start contributing to the HA environment as well. So if that's clear, actually, I can actually switch to the code-based demo as
well. Maybe shall we open up for some questions?
Yeah, we can open for questions before I jump into this one. Yes. Yeah.
Team, anyone has any questions? You can definitely ask Nijin, or you can actually post in the chat and he'll take it up and answer as well.
Okay, and I take it as no. So before I jump in, so this is our open source page. I think Selva just showed you. Here we have Specify, client-based generator, Factify, all of those things. You can go to any of these repos and start, forking it. You can start contributing. This also has a clear documentation of what is what, how to use it, all of those things. I'll probably show a demo of this one so you'll get an idea of like what we're trying to do, and then you can get it. So we'll start with Specify. This is how your Specify app will look like. Once you login is simple. You do not have to give anything. You just have to provide, see, if you have to provide your username, and you also have to select a destination folder. Destination folder is nothing but where your all of this will stay in your local. Okay, none of these things are stored in cloud at this point of time. Whatever you generate, whatever requirements you generate will be stored in your local as well. So you just have to point to a folder and just get started. Once you get started, you will be in this page where you can actually create a solution. A solution is nothing but, let's call it as a project or something. Okay, here I have a a project already created called My Expenses. This is straightforward. It just have to go and I'm telling it, hey, create a personal application called My Expenses to manage income, and it's more like your wallet. Okay. Users should be able to add, edit, delete transactions with categories, all of those things, include monthly. So this is the prompt which I give for it. So once I give this prompt, you can see a lot of requirements which are being generated. So probably since you are most of your students, I thought we can build something called a learning management system. I hope you would be aware of what is a learning management system. It's very straightforward. You will have a lot of courses in there, just like in your Udemy or Coursera, anything, something like that, where students can log in, teachers can log in, and admin can log in. So this is my prompt. This is what I want to give it. Okay. So I'm asking it like, hey, build a LMS system for me. It should have an authentication and role based. What is role based? When student logs in, student have to see their student interface, teacher have to see the teacher, and so on. So students should be able to browse, enroll in courses, all of those things. And we also wanted to bring in some gamification called leaderboard. Then only then who will be first, all of those things will be known, right? And teachers can also, manage the content, track progress, everything. Admin should be able to. So we'll take this prompt and we'll actually give it to specify within high and tell like, why don't we create? So let's call it as LMS, just learning management system. And we give this prompt, okay? The same prompt we showed. I can also tell, hey, what technology I'm going to build this. So for me, I'm going to build it in React and Node. Again, this specify will not give you the entire code base. This will more give you the breakdown of user stories, product stories, all of those things. The importance of why I want to give the technology is like those stories and tasks can be more specific to these technologies. So that's the reason I wanted to give these things. And I can also talk about how much business requirements I need, how much product requirements I need, how much URL, all of those things. I can set those parameters here. So at HA can generate, some similar number to it. So once I click on create solution, it's going to take some time. In the meantime, if I want to tell you like what is a product level, product requirements is nothing but a high level epic, say for example, user authentication. That could be one of your product requirement. Within user requirement, there will be a lot of user stories and tasks. User stories will be like, one task will be like login could be one user story. Within that, the task will be like create a login component, create a login backend. So that is something on the task level. So when you actually spread it across different levels, when you work as a team, it is much easier for people to take the task and then start working on. So that's the beauty of breaking down into things. So that is how project management tools actually come into play, right? And your non-functional requirements are something like performance, scalability, all of those things, right? And now if you see the LMS is created, let's go inside and actually see the solution. So this is our prompt. This is what we wanted. It has created business requirements, it has created product requirements, non-functional requirements, user, all of those things it has created. So let's start with business requirements. Are on a high level, more like how people execute stocks, but from more of a a developer perspective or a programmer perspective, product requirements is where we start with. For example, just imagine it has created 15 things at this point of time, which is very, very similar to what LMS has to do. Now, if a project manager or a business analyst has to come and sit and write all of those things, it's going to take a lot of time, right? Now, this would have taken anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks to write the entire thing, whereas HA was able to create this in like less than 2 minutes. Now, do you understand like how it can actually accelerate your journey? Say, for example, it says like secure authentication system. Secure authentication system is nothing but you have to have a role-based authentication, all of those things. Once you go inside these things, I also have the ability to actually, chat and tell like, this is not enough for me. You can add all of those things. It says like suggestions to improve multi-factor authentication system. In this case, it says only like login. What if I want to do more of a Google login or a Facebook login? Then I can still go and chat with it, mature this content, all of those things. It's not like it's just ending here. You don't have to just use what HA gives you. You have the flexibility to chat with it. For example, I tell like, hey, multi-factor authentication, what it is. Let me go and ask HA. It actually thinks. It says like, hey, what it is. Okay, it says like the capability to seamless and all of this. So I can tell like probably can you add social logins? So now it will come up with a suggestion like, hey, what all things it can add. It can actually tell like, it can actually add these things to allow the students to all of those things. This is something which you can do. If you like this one, it can actually add the description back to these things and you can actually do it. Similarly, this is going to continue to happen, secure third-party login. So I just talked about secure third-party logins. So it's actually telling me like, hey, all of those things can be added, and then this can actually get into these things. So you can actually take this time and actually add this description. In this case, I feel like for a demo purpose, let's not complicate this too much. We just go with the role-based authentication here. So once you can go through every user story, say for example, student progress tracking, it says like implement a tracking system for monitoring all of those things. Okay. And now you have the product requirements ready. You feel this is okay. Similarly, you can go to your non-functional data security. All of this is something similar, but for the demo purpose, let's only go through the product requirements. So once I feel this is ready, let me go and create user stories. User stories are nothing but from a high level user authentication, you're actually breaking down them to stories. So it will generate user stories. If I had missed any context before, I have the flexibility to start giving context here. So once I start doing this, I can actually, it will actually give me user stories. And these are the user stories which your developer or any of your fellow members will be starting to work on. Any questions in the meantime while it is generating?
And so if many of the participants are from college, they might have less exposure to this project management life cycle. Usually they actually jump in on the board.
Yeah.
So how many have used any of the project tracking tools for your projects?
Any of you used it? I'll try to pull out a Jira board if possible. Just give me a second.
Hi, sir. I'm Saran from Banana Institute of Technology, and I have a doubt in Specify, sir. So, if I ask for something novelty in my project, will Specify give me a novelty, sir?
It can still try to come up with some reasoning, because I told reasoning is a part of AI. It can actually give you some reasoning, but do understand that all of those things will be from a trained knowledge only. So it can
Yes,
actually
sir.
come up with some suggestions.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, that's definitely possible.
Yes, sir.
For some reason my acceleration is not working. Ram, I'll continue and probably I'll show it at the end probably if there's something.
Sure, no problem.
It's not working. Just broke the link. Okay. So again, I think you are able to see my specify. So in the meantime, it was actually able to create the user stories. We just came from the product description. We came here, it was able to generate a lot of user stories. Again, when you tell user stories, if you see, it actually broke down the entire product requirements into multiple user stories, right? You should have a user authentication. Now, if I go inside this user authentication story, it has a lot of tasks. See, I was just telling, right? Create a login component in React. That is one task which is there. Okay. And then it can also tell like develop API endpoint for authentication in Node, all of those things. So all of those things are multiple. It says like implement validation logic. Most of you would have had JavaScript validation. Then there's an integration task. Then there's a session management task. So this is how a product is broken down into user stories. The user story is still broken down into a minor task level thing. So this is where you as a developer would come in, take one task and start working on it. Okay, so if you see, all of those things takes a longer period of time. And again, I said, just repeat it. HI does it in very smooth fashion. It is able to actually generate at a faster rate. Now that you have these things ready, at any point, you have the ability to actually go and change it. Say, for example, implement a React component for login screen to capture user credentials. I can tell like have feels like username and password. So that was not explicitly mentioned. I as a BA or PM can actually still go ahead and do that as well. So it also gives me suggestion. Why not you add password, disable, toggle, all of those things. For now, I feel it's fine. Let's not change it much. Let's continue to do it. So I have added this. I have made this change. Okay. Now that you have this one, this is where the second part. So this is how Specify works. Take in all the take a simple prompt. From a prompt, generate till the end of the task. So similarly, I can go to any product requirements, go create their story, have those things. Okay, so that's the entire cycle. We are not generating the stories at once in the first itself, because that will be never ending cycle. At the same time, what we want is like, we want the BAs or PMs to actually have a look at this product requirement description, make changes before we generate a story, because we wanted always human in the loop, right? So we wanted to make sure that has happened. Cool. So now that we have the user stories for the first one, let's go and actually try implementing that. So that is where something called your code generator comes into play. Can you see my Visual Studio Code? I believe yes. Okay. So I have a dummy project here. One is for your LMS app frontend, which is nothing but your React application, and a simple Node application, which has nothing. If you see, it has a, if you are familiar with Node, it only has a test API and it just says server is running. And it also has a front end, which is nothing but one mock.js to your React thing. So let me just open this page and show it to you. So starting. Okay, sorry, something else is running in that port. Okay, so in 3001, if you see, yes, it's a dummy React application. You know, whoever is working with React, you will know that there is nothing. It's just a plain page, right? Now, what we have to do is like go back to this one, and we have a plugin in VS Code. You know, if you know plugins, these are your plugins, right? Say, for example, if you search for Presidio High, you'll get a human AI build code generator. You can go and just install this one. And once you install this plugin, you'll have this plugin appear here. Okay, this is just like installing any other plugin in VS Code. You can just, I have already have this installed, so I'm not installing it again. If you don't have it, you will see a button called install instead of uninstall. Once you have it, you will actually come here. Okay. So this is the page you will see. So this can do a lot of things. It can actually explain the project structure for you. It can actually perform a security scan. It can generate a documentation for you. You know, sometimes documentation writing is a bigger problem. It can generate unit test cases, all of those things. It can also, you know, take the tasks which you generated from your specify and then pull it here. So before how to use it, I'll just show you the configuration as well. So we provide support for a lot of API providers, like, you know, all of those things, Anthropic, AWS, Bedrock, all of those things. For the purpose of this demo, I'm using Bedrock. Bedrock is Cloud on Bedrock. I have my secret and access key, all of those things. We just have to go and give it the keys. So everything, this comes with a cost of keys. It's not the cost of the software asset, it's the cost of the keys. Like if I have to, I just also had a demo task, which I did it earlier. Sorry, where is my tasks? Okay. Recent tasks, yeah. So I just did this recent task. What I did is like I asked HI to actually create a mock HTTP server. Whatever you saw here, you know, that test connection that was actually created by HI. So for to create this, it actually took $0.08. Okay, a minor cost. So there is a cost which is incurred. But in your case, if you are not able to find an AWS key, you can always go to something called Google AI Studio, and that actually gives you the key for free. You can create an API key from that. So you can just come here. The link is simple. So just have to, this is your link, aistudio.google.com/app. Just put Google AI Studio in Google. You'll actually navigate here. Once you're here, you can actually click on create API key and you'll get the key ready for you. So you can use those keys and go back to your, so see, assume you associate it with the project. Once you associate it with the project, actually is going to give you a key. I already have 2 keys. Yeah, it's giving me 1 more key. Just copy this key and come back to your settings page in the application. Instead of using AWS Bedrock, I just have to switch to something called Gemini. Okay, so that will actually help you to put the keys and start using the HA build accelerators as soon as possible. Clear? So that's how you actually configure for the keys. Now, once you have the setup ready, you can, so you can choose here, you can choose Gemini here, and once you choose Gemini, all of these fields will change. Not changing it because I've configured it, I don't have to re-enter these things, but you can do that. Once you do that, you can come back to this page and you can tell like, hey, you want to load task. Where should I load task? I should be loading task which was actually generated by specify. So in this case, let me open up my link where I have specify. So I have it here. If you see our application, right, LMS, this is what we created. I give a link to that one. All my tasks come in. Whichever stories I have created, all of those things will come here. So in our case, we had user authentication task, role-based access. Just to confirm, if you come back here, you can see See, you have user stories like user authentication, role-based tasks, all of those things. Within this, you have tasks, you have 5 tasks or 6 tasks, and all of the 6 tasks will also be here, right? And now if you have all of those things, this is where it gets interesting, where you just have to come, view the task and tell HA to actually implement the tasks for you. You don't have to sit and write. So if you have to sit and write all of those things, right, how to create a login page, how much time it would take, right? Anywhere to do all of those things. So here, if I'm happy, I just click on execute task. The tasks comes here for me. If I want to make any more changes to this one, I still have the flexibility to go and edit all of those things. Once I do this, I also have, just before I execute the task, I also have something like plan and act mode. Plan mode is nothing but it will not execute for you. Rather, it will actually show you a list of ways how it is going to be done. It is more like or planning. And the plan, when you do it, when you do the planning, you can think like, hey, this is not the right way to do it. Let me change in another way. You still have the ability to tell build like, this is the different way. In this case, let me just directly go and act. I'll just click on execute. Now this starts to execute the task for me. So as you see, I don't have any login page, anything here, right? It's all based in. So coming back, it is actually going to find out the relevant files for me. And the cost associated with each thing comes here. Okay. So it's understanding your project structure. So it's telling like, hey, at every point, it'll ask for my approval, because human has to be there in the loop trying to understand. Even if you feel like, hey, no, I don't want to give any approval, you can just configure that, do everything by yourself. That is also possible, but I wouldn't recommend that. I want all of us to understand what your AI is actually building and then try to build it on top of it. Okay. So it says like it wants to actually read this directory. So I didn't tell like go use front end or back end directory. It figured out that, hey, this task is more relevant to the front end. So it's asking, I want to read all the files. Why it is taking? Because it wants to understand whether already login is present. So I said, yes, go ahead and read those things. So I'm asking it to read it. So it says like, what do you see? I see the basic structure of React application, but there is no component directory yet. Create a component directory, create a login component inside, update. So it says, I will do all of those things for you. It says, again, I want to read this file. Yes, go ahead. I'll close this one so you can see the changes. Now it actually read it. It is also asking for backend. Probably it is actually trying to create certain things in the backend as well. Okay, now it says like, hey, I want to create a folder within this LMS app frontend called components. Yes, go ahead and do it. Now it has created it. Now do you see it is actually starting to write the code for us? If you see on the right, left, there is nothing because there is no file called login.js at all. So it's writing the entire code for us now. Okay, before I save it, now it says like, hey, do you want to save it? But as a human, I have to go understand this, go try to figure out whether it is implementing in the right way. So it has login error, it has this loading, it has to form data, name, all of this is good, username is there. It has also done validation, which is good. Probably that was some other tasks, but it has done it. That's okay, perfectly for us. So it has, I'm just trying to understand. Oh, it's also having an API setup. That's also good. It has a HTML thing. People who know React, you will understand. Or people who still know UI something, you'll understand. It has a form, which has username, which has password, all of those things. So I feel it's okay at this point of time, and I give save. Now what happens? It has actually implemented the login thing. And now it tells like it wants to create a CSS to beautify it, right? So we didn't tell any of those things. We just told login all of those things. It's actually able to create everything by itself. Now again, it's actually going and creating the login CSS. Again, just to make sure I go through all of those things. Yes, I feel it's good. Typically, I should spend more time to do this, but for the demo purpose, I feel it might be good. Again, I click on save. Now, what do you do next as human? We will actually put that login component back in app.js. Yeah, so that's what we actually do. See, it's actually doing that thing. It actually replaced all the, the dummy code. It actually told welcome to LMS. You are now logged in, log out button, all of those things it is actually done, which we didn't ask. It understood that the app.js have to be modified. I feel it's again and yes, go ahead. Now it's actually asking to style certain things in app.css. Yes, why not? Go ahead and do that. It will actually replace the dummy things. It's not required. It's actually replacing all the dummy things. I'm okay with that as well. Go. Okay, now it's going to backend and doing the task, which is good, right? It's actually creating a backend thing. The task didn't contain, but yeah, HA actually goes one step. So by doing this, what happens? We can eliminate the next two tasks because it's already creating. So just to understand what it has done is, it actually created a mock database. We didn't, because we don't have a backend connected, so it can actually validate. It also created a login endpoint, which is also good for us. It also created certain things within this one, right? Here, if you feel like, hey, don't create everything between this index.js, I want to keep it in different files, you can probably comment here and saying like move files. Let's not disturb at this point of time. We'll come back to this later. Okay, just to show you like how it works at this point of time. It's also installing the cars package. I don't know how many of you know what is cars, but yeah, cross origin request. It's actually creating it. It is actually implementing it, making the changes for those things. So it's doing all of those things. Yes, I again click on save. So it's actually going to start the backend server for us. It's starting the backend server at 5,000. It's also going to start the front end. Okay. It says I completed the task for you. Okay, let's check that how it's working. 3001. Okay, so you see you have the login and username thing already set, right? I don't know what is the password which it has given. Admin 123. Let's also check the cars thing which it has set up for it. Yeah, let's give admin 123 as password. Super. So at this point, without even a single human interaction, it actually generated the entire base for us. And I didn't give any screen or something, right? If I'd given an UX to it, for example, you also have an option to capture you have a photo button here, right? Camera button. You can attach a screenshot of your UX here, then probably to generate something very similar to the UX. So not even a single handwritten code here. It's all about like entire thing, login.js, entire code is written by HAI, the CSS, it wrote it. It actually modified the app.js for us. It also went to the backend thing and it also started creating things for us. Okay, so this is where we want you to go and try use this in your real-time application. You can start using Google Gemini if you do not have a AWS thing. And the cost to implement this entire task was $0.2, which is close to 25 rupees kind of thing. Yeah, but if a human has to do this would have anywhere taken between 2 days to 2.5 days. You might find it easy, but all of this configuration, everything will take a longer time definitely. So we were able to do it in less than 5 minutes. So that's the power of HA altogether. And from an open source contribution, where we would like you to contribute is like, I think Selva already walked you through all of those things. Probably if you feel like, hey, this page is good, but I feel like if I have to delete this task, I have to go inside and make a delete. What if I can have a delete button next to it? That could be a simple open source contribution, right? You could do that. You can go through the source code, trying to figure out if I can add a delete button here, raise a merge request. We'll be happy to include that as part of it. Or you can actually go through the entire, say for example, you have a settings page. We have all of this configuration set here. Also, you can give your Gemini key, all of those things. That's also possible. If you feel certain things can be added here, some other thing can be added here, it can be anything, you can start contributing. This is on the specify thing. Even starting from here, even if you see here, we do not have a delete or certain things here. You can still go ahead and do that and make a contribution as well. I'm not exploring too much into it, but once you go through the documentation in the GitHub, you will be able to understand what does each one do. You can also tell like, hey, all business requirements, product requirements, why don't I add one more module which is very similar in software development lifecycle? Like create documentation could be an entire thing altogether, right? You can put that button here itself. And why don't you actually start doing that? That is also something which you can actually contribute as entire two different things or entire multiple menus within this is also something you can contribute. This is on the specify. Again, on the code generator also, you can come here. You can actually go through the high thing. You have it here. Again, if you see this one, I just completed this task. But what if I can have a button here like, mark as complete. Once I complete the task, I can come here and tell like the task is completed. Or if you see in this task, It was also able to create an API endpoint. It also took the second task also, if you have noticed that. So I can just come here and simply put a check mark here. All of those things can be an open source. This is again more of a React code only. You can come and change this within your plugin. So this is where we are actually welcoming the open source contribution. So you can come here. The entire code base for specify is present here, right? Whatever you have built it either. You can take the Electron app, you can go through one by one, line by line. And again, as if I figure out where that UI is coming, just make that contribution to delete or something. Same thing for code generator. Here again, 1 minute. Yeah, code generator is again here, client-based code generator. All the code is present here. You can start making changes to the plugin. So that is also possible. The same thing with Factify also. Factify, I'm not showed you demo because of the time constraint, but this is something similar to creating a testing. Okay. So it will have a detailed configuration for how to set up your front end, back end. You just have to sit and follow line by line. You'll be able to have this running in your system very soon. Cool. Any questions? Just you can make a note of this links. So one is github.com Presidio OSS. This is where your actual code, the GitHub page is present. In GitHub, just Presidio open source OSS. Okay, open source software. And for generating free keys, you can go to aistudio.google.com API key. So this will actually, it has some limits, but I think from a college perspective, that should be good enough for you to actually start working on it. Good. I will stop here. Ram, good. Team, any questions?
Thank you, Nitin, for walking through the Hanche project. I think this is definitely an insightful one. So maybe we can hear the takeaways or the feedback from the audience. How do they feel by seeing someone else is actually writing code much faster than us? And what's their take on this? Anybody want to share your thoughts?
And just hi is not just the one thing out there. There are so many things out there. You have also seen a lot of things. What HA can give you is at more like an enterprise thing. It can actually work on very, very big, large code bases, just like Hugging things. There are so many things outside there. Hi is more like an application development tool. It's more of a development toolkit. Yes. It's more of an accelerator. You can use that to accelerate. Again, just to give an example, a few years back, not most of you would have worked, we would have used Notepad to type our code literally, line by line. Then there came another Notepad++, which helped us to accelerate it by like 5 minutes. And then we have VS Code today. VS Code, actually, if you just type in the snippet, it will give you a lot of things. It actually accelerated by 10 minutes. Now think high as something which can accelerate in like different folds, 100x times or 20x times, 30x times. So that's more of an accelerator, but you still have to have the knowledge of the code. It is not a no code, low code solution. It can still write code, but if you do not understand the code, then that's a problem, because if it goes wrong somewhere, you have to give it much. Say, for example, I know React, and if somebody comes and asks me doubt in React, only then I can help you. If I don't know React, I cannot help you, right? So you need to know it is. Sometimes A is going to come back to you saying like, hey, I missed here. I went. Luckily today, all of those things ran as usual. We didn't run into any error at this point of time. Sometimes when an error comes, it'll actually try to fix it, but there will be situations where AI cannot fix it. It's just like another human or something. It's going to help you, right? So you need to know the language especially as well. It's more of an accelerator than the toolkit, I would say. Any other questions? You can use API keys for creating anything, medical, any domain. It is independent of that, but you can just use those keys, create an application. So what I would say is like, download the VS Code plugin today. Yeah, most of you would be familiar with React or Node or Angular or anything. Create a dummy project, have a the starter kit, then use HAI, give your Gemini keys, start asking you to create tasks. You'll actually do it. You can actually do it for you.
Any other questions, anyone? Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Saranan. Okay, so definitely we are going to be here for another 10 minutes or so. Definitely some of the other things to actually discuss about. So thank you so much, Nijin, for your time. Definitely all three experts have given a different flavor of how they can actually leverage these skills into their career. So in terms of the thought process around open source, why do we need to contribute, and what is the impact actually happen for someone who has actually contributed, and what are the opportunities that they have for the recent trends and techs that is in the market going to contribute to an open source GenAI project. So thank you so much, all of you. Thank you, Ernest, for your time today. So team, with that, we have got a couple of things. One, so we definitely need your feedback for various reasons. So I'll just post that link in this chat group now. So there's a feedback form posted in the group. It has only a couple of questions, and just that's not much to type, but it's quick. So can you all go ahead and submit your form now so that we can actually get started with the next steps, which can help you get connected to collaborate. So I'll give a minute here for all of you to actually open up the form and submit the feedback. And whoever is done, we have actually created a WhatsApp group for the people who have attended this session live, and also anyone is interested to look at contributing the open source projects. I'll also share that link with all of you, and join that group only if you are really interested and have passion to contribute to some of the open source projects. So one of them could be Hache project that we were talking about, but you can contribute to any open source project, but we'd love to see the active participation there. Otherwise, you will get removed from that group. So that group will also have experts who have also contributed, and from the HA team as well to help and guide you. Super. For who are done with the feedback, we'll give you the genuine feedback. So at last, definitely who were staying till end, we always get something extra. So we have got something for the major audience here. Super. Okay, I see a couple of requests already. Yeah, so just don't click and join only if you are interested to contribute and collaborate with the experts. Super. I'll just go ahead and approve. Yeah. Super. We can get started with the next topic. So since it's a campus hiring season started, so most of you actually going through the interview process. I'll definitely see some of your data points in the feedback form. Just I have customized the feedback form for this session. So we'll know the audience group better. But I see most of you from the second years, third years, and final years of the college, and you might be going through a campus hiring or looking for an opportunity. So a couple of things I want to actually highlight for all of you. Okay. Thank you, Nijin. Thank you so much for staying here. So, yep. So what I would recommend is don't put anything that you have gone throughout your college curriculum or college days in the resume. So put the ones which are highly important, and you are already into it and you have done it by your own. So anything that reflects in your resume, that should be done by you, and you have actually involved in doing those activities. For example, it could be a project. You have to be involved and you might have done some coding. Otherwise, it might not worth it. And people will actually figure out as soon as you enter into an interview. The interviewers are really super smart and they'll be able to figure out. Two, so I have seen in the recent time, definitely everyone contributed to a project and you have actually voluntarily did it, and you have contributed only to one portion of the project. So there could be a team project, there will be 4 modules, and you have contributed to only one module, which could be the front end or back end, or it could be for a simple feature itself. If that is the case, get to know the end-to-end solution of how they have built and have better understanding of how the entire project works and how even you can actually deploy and actually build, deploy, and post that somewhere else. You should have end-to-end understanding of how that works. So resume, whatever you have it in a resume, you should be able to speak for it at least 5 minutes. Any topic that you have put in there. It could be just JavaScript. It can be your area of interest. It can be your hobbies. It can be your CGPA. Any numbers, any words that you have put in, you should be able to speak for at least 5 minutes. Because anybody can ask anything from your resume because you are actually giving the open blueprint to the interviewer. That is one thing. Two, so I have sensed that people actually do it very well on the technical aspects, but they definitely lack in the communication in terms of you may have done something on a project, but you have never explained why you actually started with that project, how the collaboration has been made, how it went on a day-to-day basis, the live scenarios of ups and downs, the challenges, etc. Because interviewer is not the one who are really dumb and cannot understand. They are pretty smart, so they know how everyone is going through as well. So be open and transparent on how you actually learned and developed. It's going to add more authenticity and trust on you, even though if you are not performing well on certain areas. So they actually make some of these suggestions based on various factors and how you do throughout the interview process, not because of one area or one answer or something like that. No, it's not always has to be yes to all the answers, and you have to actually answer them all of them throughout the interview process as well. It's okay to say no and just be why. That's fine. And the other ones that I want to talk upon is definitely the coding skills. Programming skills are much more important. If you're giving up any interview, you have to know a basic problem solving. So you should be good at basic analytical. Any given problem, you break down the problem, go with the pseudocode, and even ready to even do the hands-on and show the code in the laptop. I would even recommend to take the laptops during the technical interviews if you are so confident in developing some programs. That is fine. So that gives more trust and confidence on the interviewer. So that is one. And there are already several platforms like LeetCode, CodeChef, HackerRank, HackerRank. But I see mostly these are copy paste in the recent times. Even though you have thousands of programs, you are not able to solve another intermediate problem that is given by the interviewer. So it's not the number, quantity matters. How well you have actually learned, the quality of the understanding is going to be key during the interview process evaluation. So one another aspect that recently struck in one of our interview processes, now since with ChatGPT, Perplexity, and all other AI tools as like HAI, the client-based Aider or Klein or Lovable, V0, whatnot. So we have so many platforms, AI platforms available for you to help with the code acceleration and generation. And people might even give an opportunity to use some of these tools. But there are two things that we need to keep in mind. one, either you do the entire programming by yourselves, no chat GPT. So either use Google, Stack Overflow, or ChatGPT for portion or for some understanding if need to be, but the code entirely should be written by you. And the velocity of the completion, the quantity of the completion might be less, so the interviewer will evaluate in that fashion. So you do it all by yourself. Two, use some of these tools, but don't get stuck onto what it actually directs you. Make sure you direct that tool and use it wisely. If not, just skip and go back to the traditional method, because we are in the transformation phase and there will be some disruptions. So go back to the traditional method and do by your own from the beginning. If any of the interviewers gives assessment or assignment, don't use ChatGPT because it will lead you something else. And two, if you are already used ChatGPT and you're familiar with how it can actually accelerate your coding, and make sure you understand each and every line of what it has written. If you are not able to clarify or troubleshoot on the code which is generated by the ChatGPT or any other AI tools, then there is less likely for you to get selected. So if you are not able to clearly answer and go through the code base that is put by yourself, whoever it may be, you are accountable. So even though you made 100% completion, or even it may be 120%, there is a chance that you will not get selected just because the lack of understanding of why you have done that. So where it might be useful and impactful at this point in time, all of these tools, for the people who are entrepreneurs or someone who is really good at product business knowledge, and they wanted to build something real quick to demo or showcase to someone else. Quick MVPs, MLPs, most viable and lovable products. That's where this is going to be helpful at this point, but not for the developers, especially the people who are really looking for job opportunities from the college side. Do not get distracted by the ChatGPT, even for your clarifications, queries, or code generation. Take it seriously, otherwise you will get some pushback during the interview process. So that is another key that I want to share. Yes, and as we have talked about, definitely making sure your profile is having regular contributions, and what open source contributions are really key. And at last, participates in the forums like this. Any forums which has live experts in it, go and talk to them and interact. So one is this, and there may be various number of forums happening in persons or remote. They actually share a lot of insights. This helps you to get connected with some of the leaders in the industry, and they might even share regular openings, and you might get a chance to even impress them during one of the meetups, and they might actually look after you for some other opportunities in the future. So try to get plugged into all the opportunities where experts are and get connected with them. So that's going to be really, really helpful. So at last, I'll stop here. Thank you so much for all of your time. We are on time. And if anybody wanted to drop off, feel free. So otherwise, I wanted to hear a couple of feedbacks from all of you on this session, and also someone who has participated for last 5 sessions as well. So I have got really, really good support from the entire Vidiyal team and the volunteers. Definitely Yokesh, who is the pillar always, and Selva, and all other organizers, co-organizers, and participants and trainers. So with that, maybe Yogesh, do you want to share your experience from the UX background, and how this GenAI Enablement series thrown, because you have been thrown for all 5 sessions and completed.
Yeah, no. Hey everyone, I'm Yogesh. I'm a UX designer at Presidio. So thank you so much for joining. Never expected this much participants attending this GenAI session. And so talking about my learning, I learned a lot about the prompt engineering, which I usually do a lot. Uh, and something a little bit technical about how GenAI models work and all. And yeah, that's it. That's my learnings over there. And thanks to all the speakers like Naveen, Dinesh, Aman, and Nijin, uh, Sriram, and Selvakumar.
Yeah, thank you, Yogesh. And maybe I'll ask another question. So since you landed into a job recently last year from the college, so what was the struggles that you had, and how did you overcome and ended up in great opportunity, and you can actually contribute to the great.
Yeah. So basically, I'm a chemical engineer who worked previously in a chemical factory, which is some completely different from what I'm currently working. So there I was a safety officer over there, and due to some health issues, I quit my job over there, chemical factory, and then started working, looking for the job in the IT industry. So during my college time itself, I was working as the graphic designer for our college and uh, do some freelance works as well. I started learning UI UX design, and even Ram tried to teach me JavaScript, but which I was can't able to cope up well. So I stick into design itself, and then uh, I started internship at Presidio last year in the February month, and now it's been a year that I was part of Presidio, and I'm completing a year in Presidio as a full time. So yeah, try to interact with some people in the community. So try to participate in the events. So that's what I would say. The networks will help you in landing some good job. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Yogesh. And I have actually posted his LinkedIn profile as well. You can actually watch what cool, interesting stuff that he's actually currently working on. So thanks so much, Yogesh. Thanks so much. Team, anyone from here, from the college side, so do you want to share your feedback on how the session was and how this was beneficial? Stuff like that. Anyone want to go? Okay. So this makes me a little bit afraid because I think you all need to open up. So that's one of the key area going to be there in all the industries with all the automation and what AI stuff are happening. How you open up and interact and be a great consultant is going to win the game. So yeah, just open up.
Hi, sir.
Hello, sir.
Okay, sorry. So who was that? So is that Saravanan or is it someone else?
Yes, sir. Saran.
Hi, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Go.
yes, sir. Coming back to the feedback, so I didn't really know much about open source, sir. So I have gained so much knowledge about open source and how to contribute it as well, sir. So since then, I have thought GitHub is only platform like we can share the codes with our teammates so that we can efficiently collaborate the project. Yes, from this session, I have gained like there is so much about the softwares, and we have contributed to the softwares as well from how from contributing to it. Yes, thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Saravanan. Yes.
Sir.
So
Hello, sir.
yes, go ahead.
I'm Padma, sir, from Banaria Ministry of Technology. First, a very big thank you for you people to explain very deeply for contributing in open source and how HAI build will work to code generate. Initially, but still now, I thought AI will give the just code only. that will instruct what we should do while building applications and some other things, that will say what we'll do like this. The instructions only they will give, like I thought. But now only I understood HA build will accelerate the full process of how the front end and the back end, how the workflow of the application will be given back to us. A very big thank you for you, Peter sir.
No problem. So one of the other takeaway, it can do a lot more. But I would still request all of you to go back and keep the fundamentals very, very strong. Any frameworks, anything built around it can be learned anytime. But if you miss the fundamentals, so we are not going to be such in the market, and that will not even put us with the next great opportunities. So no problem. Thanks so much. Cool. Anyone else?
Sir, you told just with communication, if you open up, you can get placed, right? With just basic programming skills and communication, is it possible to get into a company? Just problem solving and communication.
Yes. So always, but you will end up in the right opportunity only when you actually go through the right forum. For example, you are a really good problem solver. And in that sense, are you even able to look after the algorithms, the complexity of them, and how depth you can go? That is one way. And two, so if you are in the mid-level and you are not even aware of what's happening in the industry, but with the competition that we have in the market and the job opportunities, it's less likely to happen. So how unique you are from the other group of people, but not everyone should follow the same. You should figure out your own. So something like this, you came to know what collaboration is on the open source community. So you start doing it, you will interact with different people, you will gain different experience, even for the same typical programmings. And two, leverage some of the meetups, and you will share only when you actually present there, not by hearing from someone else. So when you use some of these forums, you'll actually end up with a lot of insights and guidance on how to get into the job. So in the video session, last year we had 5 sessions on IT enablement series. As part of that, so many people got placed into companies with different skill sets. So it might not be the same company, but you will end up somewhere else, which will be aligned to you. And maybe long run, you may go to the place where you wanted to be. But how well you are good at the fundamentals, and how much the network that you build, and how good you are, how much involvement you are putting in efforts, that's going to pay you back. Consistency, hard work, interaction, network, all of this is going to be the key. So no one single solution that can actually give you a job.
Thank you, sir.
But any other questions? Okay, Dan. I'm so happy that we are here for almost 2 hours 40 minutes. So this is great. Thank you so much, all of you, and definitely for saying one of us, and wish you all the best. Please keep learning and contributing back to the community.